go.
Hello there, webcam community.
Hello.
I am delighted to introduce to you Margie and Bob Lees. You have encountered both of them online during the past year, and this is a chance to see their faces and learn a bit more about them. Margie, well, you were both with us for the Johnny Appleseed Festival, but Margie, maybe you could tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, I'm the one that shared the information with you guys about what we have done for, I guess, about 10 or 12 years now in Fort Wayne, when we have this big Johnny Appleseed Festival in September, and we provide a worship service that tells about the faith of Johnny Appleseed, and we have a few different versions that we do. We kind of cycle them through, and we've gained a little following of,
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you gained a big following from us.
Well,
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
good too. That was good. But we have
Some
60
locals come
60
every
to 80
year.
people that come, and they have started to look forward to it, and they, once they even asked us if we had a church in Fort Wayne, or if we were going to start one, and so that was.
And you're going to work with us earlier this year. We'll be
this year,
prepared to get in
we're
touch
gonna
with you
try
to
to-
coordinate.
Yeah,
more.
Margie and I are kind of alone on it this year. Neuenfelds are going to be gone.
Yeah,
so
BJ and Tom Moon felt
We'll-
Bob and
we'll
helped
get-
us.
we'll
But
get-
they think they have a wedding or something, so we'll do
We
it
may
on our
get-
Is that allowed on the Johnny Appleseed
Well,
Day?
we'll let them off.
We'll get some of our relatives to come down from
Maybe,
Michigan.
yeah, we might do that.
Now, I have a special favor to ask you. Would you say something in French to our many French?
Bonjour les amis, ça va bien? Là-bas dans le monde virtuel de Swedenborg, c'est bien. Ici à Convention, je parle français avec Denise Duria qui vient de Boston. Donc, vraiment, elle habite à Boston, mais elle vient de la Maurice. Donc, comme je suis professeur de français, je voudrais bien parler français quand j'ai l'opportunité avec Denise. Ça va très bien.
So you now know who our French translator is. Any of you who need help because you would like to speak in French and not in English, we have somebody who can help us do that. And
Yeah, that would be
Anyone's
good.
out there? Are you out
well,
there?
I'm hoping to. Maybe you can help us translate some materials into French because
That
we
would
do
be a
have.
great thing to do.
Yeah, we want to get
Well,
translated.
you should hook up with. Is it Patrick who's in France?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would
Because
be great.
they have a new website that they've redone, or I think they've just revamped their website. Chris Leitner had sent me an email that she had gotten from him this spring, and she wanted it translated because it was inviting people to come and visit their website and some special things that they had on there, some artwork and so forth. So it's maybe we should put a link to that or something.
Well, I'm going to count on you to be our French connection and help us make the connections and develop a translation. That would be great. Thank you, Margie. And Bob Lees, many of you remember from the forum and the chat. He has just written a book. Is your book out yet?
It is the 26th of June, and should be out the first week of July.
Oh, that's really soon.
It's at the printers right now.
Yeah, it's at print now.
And it is such an incredibly fascinating topic. And would you care to say something
Well,
about
it's
that?
I am a pastor, and I've taught for about 36 years in clinical pastoral education in a hospital to seminary students and so on. And I have written a biography of the man who was the original pioneer of clinical pastoral movement. His name is Anton Boyson. He actually came from Indiana and was from Indiana University.
Huh.
And he, in 1925, gathered together 4 students, and they started clinical pastoral education.
They were seminary students.
They're seminary students at Westboro Hospital in Massachusetts. And from then, it grew and grew and grew, and it probably has 700 or 800 students a year today, rather than starting out with those 4. Anyway, it's a story of his life, his gifts, and his theology, and how he has linked that theology to the human condition.
Now,
Living human documents.
Is it true he read Swedenborg along the way?
He had studied Swedenborg, or read Swedenborg, and I had written an article.
In the Messenger a few months back.
And then we discussed it a while back, and probably exhausted the topic at Swedenborg. I was Swedenborg with Boyce. But anyway, that was fun.
But your article brought in some of his own mystical experiences and encounters with mental health.
But he was interested in mysticism, and he had a friend. Her name was Helen Dunbar, a physician who had studied Dante and the mysticism of Dante. So he had a picture of Dante in his office, and he was not, you know, a grand mystic, but he delved into that. And I had some interest in that.
But, you know, Bob, we're hoping that you'll be around once we get our forums a little easier to find and to sort out. We're hoping that you'll come and leave messages with us and for us around some of the issues of mysticism and mental health and mysticism and exciting it.
And I should say that I'm also officially on the board of trustees of the Swedenborg Health Study. That's my claim. I'm also a Presbyterian pastor, but I'm a Swedenborgian by proxy.
We claim you. We claim you in the Swedenborgian Church.
I've been doing these conventions for about 10
Normally
10
we
years.
don't evangelize, but in this case we've been making an exception.
I've enjoyed it.
Good. Yeah, I think that's a good
I come here and I feel that I know these people. I mean, know at least a third of them, and that's great.
Could you say a little more about the experience of being at convention for those who aren't able to get here?
Yeah, come on.
Just wait 1 second.
Yeah, and
Well, for me, it's a contextual experience of friends and acquaintances that I see, you know, a few times a year. But each time we get together, it's sort of like we finish the last sentence of the last year and go on to the next. It's really a good experience.
It's a tradition for me from throughout my life, so it's just nice to keep going. One of the downsides for me this year is that a group of my peers, every time we get together at some of the gatherings at dinner or the receptions afterwards, we look around the room and we have decided that we are now among the older people.
Yes.
I've had that same
Very
feeling
sad.
here. Yeah, so many youngins.
Yeah. Do not. Personally,
Now, would you agree with me that it's very important for these young folks to listen to those older, wiser folks like us who've had so much experience, so much to share?
We, at one time, were in the place of the youth and the young adults, and it'll happen to all of you.
Hey, I want to tell you a story very quickly about that. I had gone with a friend to Istanbul, and we went twice to a Sufi techie gathering. And one evening we were there and we had supper, and then began to discuss issues with some of the people. And they wanted me to sit up high on this sort of level, and then I would keep asking questions and asking questions. Finally, my leader said, "Cut it," because they are not going to stop. They are going to honor you as an older person and stay there as long as you want.
as
Because
the oldest
as the oldest person there, which is kind of an experience I'd never had.
Well, we honor all of the aging population. You are so wise, so very, very wise.
Yeah.
Thank you both
Thanks,
so
Wilma.
much.
Thank you and goodbye.
See you guys.